present vlogs here. Basically, I don't know why that scroll bar doesn't go down, but we all have a handout anyway. One of the major things with technology is always look for something else different out on the internet. Like, it's so huge and it's so vast and there's so much stuff out there. Even after you learn something, like I learned blogspot.com, and I was like, all right, I can't just put blogger.com and blogspot.com. I got to check out some more websites. And I actually found something that's really fantastic in my searching. There's a blog site as well, which is Weebly. And I'll talk about that later. People mentioned when we first mentioned about blogs is that whole putting your students out there in the public face, and that whole aspect of some people want that security with their students in the classroom and stuff. MySpace and Facebook have options where it can just be like friends or just groups or stuff like that. Obviously, it's a thing that you as a teacher have to decide, and if your students already have a MySpace account, I don't want to put my MySpace account with my school-related stuff because that's my separate life. So you have that aspect. But to make a point about the security issue is there's many different types of blogs, and most of the blogs that we talk about have like controversial or highly suspect things. Like, people like to talk about stuff, so that's why we had that whole controversy with blogs. If you start a blog about abortions, you're gonna get a ton of responses about I think it's murder or no, everybody has a right. And this was something that I set up for this classroom because he wanted us to, as just a general, here's my opinion, what do people think? Not one person has made a comment on this blog. And that just goes to show you that no matter what you're thinking about, people are not going to find your students' blogs unless they're very detail-oriented, trying to find something with your students. And I even had that on our wiki. Nobody put a comment on this blog at all from this class. I thought about emailing somebody to say, hey, like, put that out there so I can show you what a blog can do. I said, we'll see what happens. So that shows you, security's not an issue. Like, it takes a lot of handing out. Basic steps, what you could do is starting with a basic thing like blogspot.com is about me. That could be a basic, students just say a simple introduction thing as a basic beginning standpoint for students. Would be something like your basic about me type of thing. Other blogs that you have here that you can deal with, like we'll go to Weebly now, that I created this blog. And this is something that I'd more like to incorporate, and in an EFL setting, especially in Korea, it is so hard to get students using English outside of the classroom. They might watch TV in English or something like that, but they're not really engaged in things. And by setting up a site like this, where students are interactive, they can go to the PC cafe, they can go at home or whatever. This is just talking about my trip. My favorite place that I've ever visited is Cambodia. That's one of my favorite places that I've ever been to. And I write about a basic history of what I saw there, and then I write about things that I think the country needs help with. And I put some pictures that I took. There's a really easy application you have with Weebly.com when you set it up, that they have Google Maps. So you could have any map anywhere talking about your place with Weebly. Weebly also allows, if you got a YouTube video, you can throw that up there too. And this is all easily, like, just click and drag, and you can set it up so it's multiple. It just keeps stacking down and down and down. And if you want to, you just drag and split it into two. And that's how I did that. I just dragged it down, split it into two, have a video, and my comments about that video. And that, you could have an online journal type of thing based around trips they've taken or how they feel about different things. Another type of blog that you could set up as a teacher also would be something like what I did for this blog. And that is, I posted 4 different pictures of all the different places that I've been to. And then I said, all right, for this assignment, I'd like everybody to post a comment using noun clauses or something like that. So specific points, you could say. Or I want you to describe this using adverbial phrases or something like that, like different teaching points. And you could have, this would be a teacher-oriented blog where your students are just leaving comments or writing short passages about it. And one of the last blogs that I actually had to create was for my English 516 class, Computers and Writing. And this is, as you know, most blogs all go in opposite order. So to find the beginning of this blog, all the way down there was the basic introduction that we could do that was anything that we wanted, just here's me. And then we had to write a basic, like, 1,000-word entry about our paper that we had to submit, so our teacher could monitor what our ideas were. And we would deal with that, put an intro, and then he had us, this is my annotated bibliography for my paper that I had to write. So he had us post all of our works cited, and then a short paragraph about that, how we would use that source. So for academic style writing, this really can help you guide your students. You can see the sources they're using, you can see the websites they're using, and you can guide their paper. You might not necessarily put, say, an evaluation grade on it, but you could always have that be part of the participation with the class, like it was for my thing. And there was an update for my paper, and then I had another submission of an assignment that was graded, basically how I redesigned my website that I had to design for the class. Or you could say why you changed your paper after it was peer edited. So you could have a status update of a whole process of major academic writing. Awesome. Are there any questions?
What's the difference between a website and a blog?
A website takes coding typically. You have to use, it's more complicated. Blogs are like that Weebly site that I had. That is just about a website, I would say. This is really, really close to a website.
That's my thing. Isn't it kind of a website blog?
But it's so much easier
to
than a
make,
website.
yeah,
Like
like
anybody can do Weebly.com.
Yeah.
Anybody. Like it's a click and drag, and they have basic multimedia and different things. And text and pictures, video and pictures, maps and pictures. Weebly.com.
Like let's say you want to only be able to edit that.
Oh, only the person that made the blog can edit it and change it. You could add comments here. That was one thing. I wasn't.
Can you make it so they can't add comments?
I don't really see on Weebly where you could post a comment. I might have to add that feature to it. Like you might add that feature, because like here, I don't see anywhere where you could actually add a comment about this.
Because you should have to be logged in.
So it's not interactive therefore on the lease?
Well, you can make it interactive, I'm sure, because it's a blog. My definition is blogs, you can leave comments. I just might have to add a feature to it or something like that. I don't know why that scroll bar doesn't go down, but we all have a handout anyway. One of the major things with it is always look for something else different out on the internet. Like it's so huge and it's so